After 6 weeks of cruising up the Pacific side of Costa Rica, we are at our last stop, Las Islas Murcielago. This picturesque archipelago sits in the northwest corner of Costa Rica and will be our final resting and preparation point before we set off on a 200-mile sail to our next destination, Honduras.
Good morning. It's only like 7 in the morning, but we want to go check out these islands. Let's go.
A new home for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A new man passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt. Get me up, somewhere new, somewhere I can find myself. Oh, I feel.
Clear water, wow. All right, so we just came to the beach and we were told by the rangers here that we're not allowed to come to shore. So that's okay. We are able to anchor here, which is really cool.
Yeah, I asked him if it was okay if we swim, and he said of course, so we can go swimming instead.
Made it through the day, 'cause I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay, 'cause I found my way. 'Cause I found my way.
After weeks of dodging the red tide, it felt so good to be swimming again.
'Cause I found my way, my way, my way. Found my way, my way. 'Cause I found my way, my way, my way. Found my way, my way.
So that is the arch that we saw on our way in here yesterday. It is awesome looking. I wish we could bring our good camera out here to get some good shots of it, but it's a little gnarly out here to be dragging our good camera.
This is not a safe place to be.
What did you say?
This is not a safe place to be.
Yeah, no. We should probably get out of here. Our snorkel was good. We didn't see any big life. We didn't see any sharks or rays or anything, but we saw some reef fish, so it was nice. And the water was pretty warm. Although there was this weird, like, small, tiny jellyfish that kept stinging us. So I got a bunch of little welts on me, but it was good. It was nice of the rangers to let us swim here, even though we weren't allowed on shore.
Well, you've heard us talk quite a few times about our stretched out Genoa. And we decided that if we're going to keep sailing and we're going to cross the Pacific next year, we really need to do something about that. So we reached out to Precision Sails and told them we were looking at getting a new head sail, and we've decided to partner up with them.
So they went ahead and sent us an email with a username and password to log into their customer portal.
And in there you can see everything from your quote to the measurement forms needed to take the measurements yourself, and you can see all the details about your order in there. So today we're on anchor here in Costa Rica, and we're going to take the measurements that we need to order a new head sail.
Yep, so we clicked on the form for measurements, and there's also a bunch of videos on there, tutorials on how to measure your sail. And I think we're ready to do it.
All right, we've got everything we need to do these measurements. You need a measurement form from Precision, which we have downloaded on our phone. You need a pad and paper to write it down. You need a reeled tape measure, and then a drill bit set or calipers, and a camera. And the first thing we're gonna do is take a side profile picture of One Life. So let's get in the dinghy and do that. The measurement form is just 2 pages and is complete with descriptions and diagrams for each measurement. We got started taking each measurement one at a time and writing them down in the notepad as we went. To check the luff tape dimension, we first had to unfurl the sail. We measured it with the drill bit test and double checked it with the calipers. Next up was the distance back to our sheet blocks in both the forward and the aft positions. All right, we just finished all of the measurements that are done at deck level, and it only took us about 20 minutes. So I think we're gonna send Brooke up the mast and take these last two measurements. Here we go.
How tight should it be?
These last two measurements could be taken by dropping the sail and pulling up the end of the tape measure, but it seemed like a good time to finally convince Brooke to go up the mast.
Well, I'm a little ashamed to say that this is my first time going up the mast, so I'm a little nervous. But since we weren't able to hike over here to the top, I want the view. And this seems like a perfect time to do it. It's calm, and hopefully I'll be all right. Gary's gonna hoist me up, so it should go pretty quickly. Hold on, let me stop recording.
How you like it up there?
I didn't like it on the way up, but now that I'm up here, it's cool. It's hot.
Tighter?
I did it, you guys. It's pretty high, but it's really cool up here. There's a good view. Hopefully I did these measurements right. Just gonna do a quick little inspection while I'm up here. There's a little bit of wear there. All right.
So, put your heels on the mast. Toes pointing outward. Be higher. Bend your knees. Really bend your knees. Do a squat. Squat.
Like this?
And that's how you want to come down.
Okay. I did it! It wasn't as terrifying as I thought it would be, and once I was up there, I felt pretty good. The ride up was a little sketch because I felt like I needed to hug onto the mast. But it went well, and I got the measurements, so I'm gonna talk to Gary about where I measured from to make sure that I did it okay.
Well, we're all done taking our measurements now, so we're gonna enter them into the form, and then as soon as we get data again, we'll send them off to Precision, and that'll start the design process, which is the part that I'm really excited about. So they're gonna work with us to custom fit a sail that'll suit our style of sailing. So not only will it be made for offshore blue water cruising, but we're gonna talk to them about how big of a sail we want, how high we want the clew of the sail, the shape of the sail, so how optimized it is for certain angles of sailing, and a whole host of other specifications. So the engineer in me is super excited for this, and I can't wait till we get to that step.
So in total, it only took us like an hour and 15 minutes, I'd say?
Yeah, it's pretty quick, and we were able to do it out here with no cell phone service and in the middle of a remote island anchorage in Costa Rica. So you can pretty much do this anywhere in the world.
I think it's time for another swim. Gary, do you want to go for a swim?
Yep. Well, since we're going to leave at 4 a.m. for our passage to Honduras, we've got to go through the usual routine of getting the boat ready for an offshore passage. So we need to hoist the dinghy. I need to put out the jack lines. I need to secure everything on deck and just kind of give everything a once over on deck and check all the fittings and lines and make sure that everything looks right. I like to give everything a quick inspection before we do any long passage, just to make sure that we're good to go and good to be safe. This stuff isn't fun. This is the stuff that we normally don't even show on YouTube. There is an immense amount of work that goes on in order to prepare for our overnight passages. After hoisting and securing the outboard and dinghy, I got to work rigging our safety jack lines on the deck. In certain situations, we need to be able to clip into these when we leave the cockpit to ensure we stay attached to the boat. I also secured our man overboard rescue device on the stern rail. We've never used it, but it's always best to have it ready to deploy. With a little bit of editing and some time lapses, that probably looks like it took all of 5 minutes, but in reality, I've been out here on deck for about 2 hours getting all of that situated, and I am dripping in sweat. So I'm going to take this opportunity to jump in, give the prop one more scrape before we go, and I'll cool off in the meantime too. So, whew. Offshore sailing is not easy. It's a lot more work than I thought it was, and it takes a lot to keep going, but when you get to places like this, it's so worth it.
It's so nice to have a day just to relax before we do a multi-day passage. And while Gary is cleaning the hull, I decided to make him a surprise, making peanut butter cookies for our passage. I think he's gonna be pretty stoked for these. Ta-da! Peanut butter passage cookies. Good morning. Well, it is officially time for us to leave Costa Rica. We relaxed all day yesterday, did some editing, Gary cleaned the bottom, we got ready for our sail. But today it's finally time for us to get going to Honduras. So we have about 200 nautical miles, but we're not quite sure how long the sail will take us because of a few reasons. We're not sure how far we need to stay off the coast to get wind, possibly too much wind. There's something called papagayos in this area, which I'll let Gary explain what those are to you later. And also we've heard there's a lot of fishermen and fishing gear that we need to avoid. So we're just gonna get out there. Right now there's no wind. So we're gonna motor out of the bay, and then hopefully once we get out, we'll get some wind to sail. But yeah, hopefully this will be a 2-night sail for us. And I'm excited to get someplace new. Costa Rica has been a bit hard. Isla Murcielago was beautiful, probably my favorite spot here in Costa Rica. Okay, let's pull the anchor. $6:30. What are we trolling today?
I don't know. Let's let the people choose.
What color? What color?
Guess they can't really do that, can they?
No.
Huh.
We have pink.
Yeah.
I think we should troll a pinky. Our freezer's pretty empty, so let's hope for some fresh fish. I think we have some chicken and ground beef left, but I want to get some fish in our freezer. soon as we motored out of the little cut and put ourselves up, we had a bonita on, but we threw it back because we're hoping for something bigger. I'd really like another mahi or a tuna. Gary was squawking at me because I didn't slow the boat down fast enough.
He's attacked.
And I tacked. Oh well, some days we'll have that. But we're just motor sailing right now because there's 4 knots of wind right on our nose.
We just rolled out our Genoa and there's only 12 knots of wind. But trying to sail upwind with our huge Genoa all blown out, we just heel over so much, and it's a ton of weather helm on the wheel too, which means that like the boat wants to turn up into the wind, so it's a ton of force to hold the boat straight. And that means our autopilot is working really hard too, and it's gonna grind itself to death. So I think we're gonna roll our Genoa back in and put the staysail back out, and we'll be going a lot slower, but at least it will be more comfortable.
All right, ready to roll it in? Now that we have the staysail out, we're only heeled over between like 5 and 10 degrees, which is so much more comfortable. I mean, we're not out here racing, and since we're doing a multi-day sail, we just want to be comfortable, and at least we can walk around and do stuff. We only need to do about 4 knots. That will make us average like 100-mile days. When we had our head sail out, all of my clothes fell out of the locker since we were heeled over so far. So I'm gonna use this as a note from the universe to clean out my closet, and hopefully I can find a place to get rid of some of these clothes that we're in Honduras. I think it'll be a good place to do that. Whew, so much better. We've been sailing for about 4 hours now, and we just entered Nicaraguan waters. Quite a few people have asked us if we are worried about piracy when we cross through the waters here in Nicaragua. And really, most of the piracy is over on the Atlantic side in the Caribbean. I don't think we have too much to be worried about here. Maybe be approached by a fisherman or something, but I don't think we'll have any problems. And if we do, well, I'm gonna go hide down below and Gary's gonna fight them off. So. For lunch.
Yum.
We're debating on whether or not to fly our spinnaker. The wind shifted around and it's coming a bit from behind us now. And it's a bit light. It's only like 4 knots, but I think we're gonna try it. Here she blows.
It's absurd right now.
How many do you think there are?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 right in front of the boat.
I don't know what it is about dolphins, but we never get tired of seeing them out here. Oh yeah, and we're motor sailing right now because as soon as we put the spinnaker up, our wind, of course, completely died to like 2 knots. It's the way it goes. But we're hoping we get some more winds maybe around sunset so we can do some sailing again.
Why are there so many flies on that?
Because there were a ton of flies in Costa Rica. Paravita.
Today was a pretty nice day of sailing. We had light winds all day, but we only had to motor for a few hours, and we've been slowly making about 3 knots now. And the sun just went down, so it's about time to have dinner. We were expecting to see some pretty strong winds here. So sometimes in this area off the coast of Nicaragua, there are papagayo winds, they're called, and it's essentially a jet wind that flows over Nicaragua and then down the mountains, and it can reach 40, 50 knots sometimes. So there's a lot of horror stories here about these really, really strong gusts coming down off the mountains. But we haven't seen anything yet. This time of the year, the papagayo winds tend to die down and be non-existent almost. So we'll still be on the lookout and be cautious just in case, but so far it doesn't seem like we're gonna have to contend with that, which is nice. Overall, a pretty good day though. I think we're tucked in for the night, and we're gonna try to get some rest and just kind of make some slow miles overnight, and then we'll pick up the pace again tomorrow.